Why would a good God allow suffering? Let's talk. The problem of suffering is one that hits close to home for me. In 2004, my mother had a heart attack that left her alive but in a vegetative state. My family and I have been caring for her ever since, and these last 14 years have not been easy. I empathize with any of you watching this video currently in a hard season. I understand how difficult life can be while trying to make any sense of the question of suffering. I pray that this video is helpful for those of you who, like me, are still in the trenches. I believe that God has morally sufficient reasons for allowing the possibility of evil. However, not everyone agrees with this. Philosopher William Rowe out of Purdue University contributed to this debate by giving us the evidential argument from evil. In summary, here's what he said. Because we can't imagine what good reasons there could be for God to allow evil, we should conclude that there probably aren't any. However, there are legitimate criticisms of this argument. Philosopher Alvin Plantinga and Vince Vitale both criticize the assumption this argument makes. William Rowe assumes that if God has good reasons for allowing suffering, humans should know what those reasons are. Dr. Vitale counters this assumption by stating that if a parent's reasons are sometimes beyond what a child can fully grasp, why then should we be surprised when some of God's reasons are beyond what we can fully understand? Now, analogies aren't perfect, but one that helps to make this point is the analogy of a child needing life-saving surgery, but in the midst of needle poking and prodding, can't understand why his parents are allowing him to go through such misery. Therefore, our lack of knowledge about God's reasons for allowing suffering is not evidence that those reasons don't exist. But Christianity does offer some answers as to why a good God would allow suffering. Whether you are a Christian or not, I think that we can agree that love is the most supreme ethic. Love is what we desire to receive, to give, to experience. I mean, listen to the radio. What is everybody singing about? They're singing about love. And if love is the most supreme ethic, then free will is its blueprint. Love can't exist without the free will to choose it. Otherwise, it's not love. And so if it's true that God is love, then it follows that he would create free creatures with the ability to make choices, the freedom to make good choices and bad ones. Just take a look at the world around us. The vast majority of the suffering and evil that we see in the world today is a direct result of horrible decisions that people have made and the ripple effect of those consequences. When 7 billion people have the freedom to make bad choices, bad things are going to happen. Sadly, this truth was fully realized with a doctor making a terrible decision in my mother's life. Weeks before her heart attack, she visited her doctor complaining about chest pain, but was told it wasn't anything to worry about. A couple days later, my father woke in the middle of the night to find her pale, cold, and lifeless. It took many attempts to revive my mother when the paramedics arrived, but when she finally came around, the damage was done. The heart attack left her in a vegetative state. And to be real, there is nothing that prepares you for feeding your mother through a tube in her stomach. But in my family's darkest hour, God was there and gave us the peace and strength that we needed to endure. I recently asked a group of moms if they would ever consider giving up their kids to forego experiencing the pain of childbirth. They unanimously responded, absolutely not. When I asked why, one mom responded by saying this: temporary pain is worth the love you get to experience when you know something better is at the other end. Temporary pain is worth the love you get to experience when you know something better is at the other end. That's exactly what Christianity claims. When it comes to the question of suffering and evil, the world we live in is temporary. One day it will all come to an end, and something better will be on the other side. Revelation says that one day Jesus will wipe away every tear from our eyes, and there will be no more pain and no more suffering, for the old things will pass away. In Christianity, there is not a God who sits on his lofty throne, separating himself from the pain of his children. On the contrary, when we are most in need, he immerses himself in our suffering. The God of the universe came down from heaven to suffer alongside his children. And isn't that what a good parent does? When they see their children suffering, they go to them, embrace them, and reassure them that it's going to be okay. I know it's cliche, but John 3:16 states that God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. As free moral agents, we can't experience love without the possibility of pain. And so I ask you, is love worth the risk? For me, the answer is yes. In spite of all the suffering my family and I had to endure, I wouldn't trade it to lose the love that we got to experience with my mom. So why would a good God allow suffering? Why would a good God give us freedom to experience love? And it's worth the risk. Jesus says that in this world you will have trouble, but take heart, for I have overcome the world. So go to him. Let him comfort you in your time of need. May the God of peace be with you. God bless you. See you next week.